You're about to get a more in-depth look at Miami-Dade's luxury real estate market than anybody else on the market or in the entirety of YouTube, as I do every single month on this channel. Jake Fletcher here with the Fletcher Group at eXp Realty, your Miami real estate agent. And whether you're looking to buy, sell, invest, doesn't matter what it is that you're looking to do in the Miami-Dade real estate market, this is the end-all be-all video for anybody who is looking to do anything in the luxury real estate market here in Miami. Why? Because this data is coming to you straight from the MLS, the backbone of the real estate industry, giving you the most accurate data. Then we're going to contextualize it. We're going to talk about what it all means. I'm going to give you my personal perspective so that you can make the most informed decision for yourself and for your family in this crazy topsy-turvy real estate market where there's often misinformation and disinformation and just bad information overall. This is your one-stop shop. So if you appreciate that, smash the like button and make sure to hit subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss these videos in the future. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and pull our chair up around the fire here and let's talk about this data, y'all. So we're gonna talk about inventory first. Miami-Dade County, like I said, luxury single-family homes. That means all single-family homes that are over $1.5 million. That represents the top 10% of the market. And then for condos, we're going to look at separately in the second half of the video. If you're more interested in that, there's time codes down below. And luxury condos are over $1 million, okay? Now, we are looking up through the month of February 2024. So let's go ahead and dive on in. The inventory and new listings, as you can see on this graph, both continued up into the stratosphere this month, with the number of active listings reaching 1,470. So active supply hitting all-time highs once again for another month. And these new all-time highs come in the form of 58 additional active listings compared to January and 240 more than last February for a 4.1% increase month over month and a 19.5% increase year over year. Now, the blue line is our new listings. They came in at 359, which is up 24 new units for sale in 1 month from 335 for a 7.2% increase month over month. Now, year over year, new luxury single-family home listings are up 117 units or 48.3% from 242. Okay, so that's pretty crazy. From this point over here in February compared to, we're looking at new listings. From this point here in February compared to this point right here, you're up 48.3% in terms of the rate of new listings coming on the market. All right, so that's pretty significant, I would say. Now, let's go ahead and look at this next graph here, which is days on market, average days on market, and then close price to original price ratio. So average days on market dropped 23 days last month from 143 in January to 120 days in February. That's a 19.2% acceleration, if you will, in the market, okay? So interesting to note, that's happening, okay? And that's your green line there. You can see, especially considering that, the sales that are happening in February usually go under contract in January, sometimes December. So that's normally a slower part of the year. So seeing luxury sales speeding up during that time is interesting to note. Now, looking at close price to original price ratio next, but first, let's talk about year over year compared to last February for those days on market over here. We had 167 days on market. So that's a difference of 47 less days compared to this February, or a 28.1% acceleration in the market. So overall, on a year-over-year basis, moving quicker, and also overall on a month-to-month basis, moving quicker as well. We'll see if that trend continues. The market was moving real quick in the middle of 2022, and then 2023, things kind of leveled out. So we'll be keeping an eye on what happens in 2023 moving forward. And absolutely, if that's something that interests you, make sure to subscribe. Now, moving on to close price to original price ratio, like I mentioned, All this is if you're not familiar with it, it's a percentage expressed of what a property is originally listed at to what it eventually sold at, okay? So if it was listed for $1 million and it sold for $900,000, that's a 90% close price to original price ratio, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. And we're looking at the blue line here again. So close price to original price ratio came in at 92.8% in February, which is up 1.7% in 1 month from 91.1% in January. So sellers getting a little bit closer to what they're asking, what they originally were asking for. And then last February was 88.2. So we're actually up 4.6% from that point. So year over year, sellers are getting significantly closer to what their original asking price was, compared to last February, okay? Closer to that 100%, the fabled 100%, which for the luxury range, we're probably not going to get to that, but, sellers want it closer to 100%, buyers want it further away, right? Now, median sale price in the luxury range is what's coming up next, as well as number of sales. So let's take a little gander over there. Now, median sale price, again, for the luxury range, for single-family homes, this is everything over $1.5 million. So the median sale price for luxury single-family homes in Miami-Dade for February 2024 came in at $2.5 million, which was actually down $345,000 from January, okay? So that's pretty wild to see, that sort of a, $345,000 drop, which is a 12.1% decrease in just 1 month. Now, we definitely, you're only dealing with a couple hundred sales here. So when your population of your sample size is on the smaller side of things, versus condos and single family homes in the non-luxury range, the 90% of the market, there's a lot higher amount of sales, a bigger population. So, the statistical significance of median sale price movements on a month-to-month basis in the luxury range is a little bit less statistically significant, but it's still data points that we want to keep an eye on because it gives us a little bit of an idea overall of what's happening in the market. Especially you can see trends over time of, over the last few years, we see sort of a little bit of a downward slope in terms of, median sale price. Now, the year over year difference is actually up, however. And it's up 5.8% from last February for a $137,500 appreciation. So nothing crazy, but definitely some pretty wild swings in the last year in terms of median sale price. Meaning that there's most likely it's due to wide the wide range really, because luxury is everything from over $1,500,001 and up. So it could be there was more $40 million homes sold in January and things like that, right? So this is also why we use median sale prices, because if you use averages, then it skews it even more, okay? If you're a math person, then you know what I'm talking about. Now, sales is up next, and the number of sales came in at 89, which is actually down 11 sales from January's 100 sales for an 11% reduction. A little bit odd to see sales go down in February. We normally do see in the luxury range sales go down in February, but overall, generally you tend to see sales go up in February in the normal market, but in the luxury market, it seems that there's more of a trend over the past few years now. We've seen sales go down in February, which is definitely interesting, and it makes you kind of wonder, when you see more sales happening in January that went under contract in December and November, perhaps people are being more opportunistic and taking advantage of the slower holiday market to, get some better deals on properties. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's sort of what might be going on, at least to some extent. Now, year over year, we're actually up 17 sales from 72, and that is a 23.6% increase from this point here. So definitely more sales. That's a factor of more inventory, more wealthy people moving to South Florida, to Miami-Dade. So, definitely interesting to see how the luxury market differs from the, quote unquote normal market. Okay. Now, months of inventory, what that is if no new properties came on the market, how long would it take to sell the existing supply? Now, months of inventory is our green line there. It actually jumped 3 months from 14 to 17 months of inventory. And then year over year, we were also at 17 months of inventory last February. So, that is definitely a buyer's market. And as you can see by median sale price, having that sort of slight downward trend over time, that reinforces the fact that we're in a buyer's market in the luxury range, okay? And especially with more and more inventory coming on, it doesn't seem like it's slowing down anytime soon. Buyers have more and more opportunities to get good deals on luxury properties here in Miami-Dade. So if that's something that you're interested in, it would behoove you to work with an agent who actually knows the data like the back of their hand. I can't even begin to tell you how many times that has benefited my clients when you have a listing agent, selling you a line about, oh, the market's doing this and that and the other. And then I pop out with some facts, and give them some data like, well, months of inventory jumped 3 months from 14 to 17, market's slowing down, da-da-da-da-da. You get the point. All right. So expired listings is up next here. And then we're going to talk about condos. But expired listings, all that is, the listing agreement between the listing agent and the seller expired and the property's no longer on the market. So expired listings came in at 248, which was up 43 from 205 expired listings in January. That's a 21.0% increase. Year over year, expireds are up 62 from 186 expireds for a 33.3% increase in luxury single-family homes not selling before the listing agreement expired, okay? So that's pretty interesting to note. We see the blue line overall. Obviously, the December, we've talked about that before. All these spikes are in December, the big spikes on the blue line, because people make listing agreements until the end of the year. And maybe they sign it in February or July or whatever, but then they'll say, all right, this is good until the end of the year. It's good until December 31st. So that's why you see the big spikes there. So sort of don't pay too much attention to the big spikes, and you can kind of see how expireds have remained consistent even though, over the last few years, we've seen a big increase in supply. So pretty interesting. That shows you that there is very strong demand for luxury single-family homes in Miami because they're getting bought up, right? And then, sales are up and all of these things, especially over time. So very interesting to note, we have a very healthy luxury single-family home market in Miami-Dade. But how's the luxury condo market doing, Jake? Tell me about condos. Well, you're in luck because that's what we're going to talk about now. So luxury condos, again, Miami-Dade luxury condos are everything over $1 million, all right? So let's look at inventory first, and new listings and active inventory are what makes up the inventory chart here. Inventory and new listings both increased again this past month. That's our green line and the blue line there. And the number of active listings, aka supply, came in at 2,487, which was up 110 active listings from January's 2,377, or an increase of 4.6% in just 1 month. So 4.6% increase in inventory over 1 month. Year over year, we saw a 16.6% increase in inventory, where active listings are up 354 additional listings from last February's 2,133. So 2,133 over here, 2,487 over here. We're not quite, back to, where the levels of inventory were sort of, at the beginning of the pandemic era. That was definitely, more people started moving down here from New York, Chicago, California, and eating up that luxury inventory. Now, it's not the same for single family homes. We're not in record highs, but we're getting back to sort of the normal pre-pandemic levels of luxury condo supply. And what you're going to see over the next couple, like 2-3 years especially, is a big increase in luxury condo supply, because everywhere you look, I can look out my window here, I'm in Wynwood, and I see just crane after crane after crane of new buildings going up, and they're not building affordable housing condos downtown in Miami, which is the direction that I'm looking, where all the skyscrapers are. They're not affordable housing. Okay, these are luxury units, normally starting $1 million and up, $1.5 million and up, so on and so forth, for like like one bedrooms. Okay, and of course there's some projects where like short-term rentals, like Hub Miami, they're starting at $550 in the friends and family pricing. They're not all luxury units, okay? But a lot of them are luxury units. You got the Ocon Tower, you got, Cipriani. I mean, there's so many luxury projects that are going up in downtown and Brickell over the next few years, that you're going to see a big increase in this supply of luxury condos, which could of course have an effect on prices. And we will be the first channel on YouTube bringing you that information. You can bet your bottom dollar on it. Now, new listings, that's our blue line here, came in at 513. That was up 22 new units, or 4.5%. Year over year, new listings are up a fairly staggering 32.9%, or 127 units from 386 last February to 513 this February, okay? So from here to here, that's a 32.9% increase. You had that little bit of a lull there in terms of new listings in the spring and the summer, and then a little dippity dip, and then the last few months has few months has been like big increase in supply of luxury condos. So that's also interesting to note. Next up, let's look at days on market and close price to original price ratio. So days on market were down to 148 from 163 last month. That's a 15-day or 9.2% reduction, okay? So, that's our green line there, moving a little bit quicker, okay? Now, year over year, it's down only 4 days. So slightly quicker market now, not by a ton, but the market hasn't really been close to like this quick of a market since May of 2023 was. Right here, you can see this was the May dip. It was a little bit quicker of a market, but it's been coming up on almost a year that the days on market has been above that point. Okay, it was 135 days on market right there, and then this past 148. You're talking about a 13-day difference, a little bit slower, but we're getting down into that sort of territory. So interesting to note. Now, close price to original price ratio, in case you weren't watching the single family home portion, all this is a percentage expressing the ratio difference between what a property is listed at originally and what it ultimately sells at. So if it's listed for $1 million and it sells for $900,000, that's a 90% close price to original price ratio, okay? So close price to original price ratio for luxury condos in Miami-Dade came in at 92.1%. A 0.1% increase month over month, so nothing crazy. However, year over year, we see a 2.1% increase from 90% back here in February to now 92.1%. Close price to original price ratio this February. So interesting to note, getting closer to parity in terms of the what sellers are asking for and what they're ultimately getting. Okay, so less sellers going on fishing expeditions, and that's ultimately, I think, healthy for the market. Okay, now median sale price is next. All right, and sales. And the green line is our median sale price here. So median sale price, again, for the luxury range for condos, that's everything over $1 million, okay? So luxury condos came in at $1,725,000 median sale price. That was a $190,000 or 9.9% reduction month over month from $1,915,000. So that's that drop there, which, it comes after a big increase in the last couple months of last year. So, making up for a little bit of ground lost from a buyer's perspective, at least. And then year over year, we see a $75,000 4.2% reduction from $1.8 million last February. So from right here, a little bit lower than last February, a little bit lower than last month. But overall, over the last few years, luxury condo prices have been pretty stable overall, with the exception of last month where they got a lot higher for a brief period in time. But again, we're dealing with smaller sample sizes. So outlier sales like a 40 or a $50 million penthouses, if a few more of those sold, then it can influence the metrics. But again, that's why we use medians, because you get a more accurate number than averages. Now, sales, that's our blue line here coming up next, jumped up to 134 from 111 in January. That's a 20.7%, 23 unit increase in sales month over month. Now, year over year, it's a 7 unit, 5.5% increase from 127 sales in last February, okay? So, interesting that we see, a much closer amount of sales year over year than what we saw in January, although not necessarily unexpected because sales are a lagging indicator. And the properties that go under contract in January, that sell in January, usually are going under contract in December, sometimes November. And the sales that are happening in February are usually going under contract in January, sometimes December. So that's sort of after the holidays a little bit more. So not uncommon to see. We actually saw in single family homes the opposite, but at least as far as with condos here, every time we go January to February, 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 we see an increase in the number of sales. Whereas with single family homes, we saw more of a trend of the opposite. So interesting to note, who knows why that's happening, but it does seem to be what's happening. And then if history is our guide, we should expect to see even more sales next month as we're going into the spring market, okay? The March numbers, the April numbers, and of course, I'll be bringing you guys that on this channel as well. Now, months of inventory is up next, aka how long would it take to sell the existing supply if no new properties came on the market? Months of inventory for luxury condos came in at 19. That's down 2 months from January's 21 months of inventory. And year over year, we had 17 months of inventory last February. So that's 2 months slower than that point, okay? So we're in a midpoint between where we were at last month and where we were at last year, okay? So interesting. And last but not least here is the expired listings. Expired listings is, if in case you weren't watching the single family homes, listing agreements that expired between the sellers and the listing agents. So they're no longer on the market. Expired listings for luxury condos came in at 307 expireds in February, down 19 from January's 326. That's a 5.8% reduction in the number of expireds month over month. And year over year, we actually see a reduction of 1.9% or 6 less expireds from last February's 313. So not a huge difference there, but overall we can see a little bit of perhaps a correlation, maybe not necessarily a causation, but potentially between, as we see more inventory coming on, we see more months of inventory, and then we aren't seeing a corresponding increase in expired listings, which tells me that the luxury condo market is in a healthy place in terms of demand, as far as normally if you see a bunch more listings coming on the market, you would see more expireds happening. But the fact that we're not seeing a correlation with that the same way we're seeing in months of inventory tells me that we're potentially seeing a pretty strong demand for luxury condos in Miami, which is also backed up by the decent level of sales. If we go back to our sales in the green line, we see how stable sales are, and if anything, over the last year and a half, they've been trending up. If you want to look at it from just that time scale there, so it's all very interesting. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, invest right now in the luxury condo market, luxury single family home market in Miami-Dade, it really just comes down to what your personal situation is, what your goals are, and what your outlook is on the future of the real estate market. it does definitely seem like prices are more stable in the luxury market than they are in the non-luxury market. And it also seems like we're getting a lot more supply in both condos and single family homes. Definitely a lot more in single family homes, relatively speaking. But there's also more, a greater rate of sales happening in the condos, probably because, there's more inventory to pick from. It's a more attractive lifestyle to a lot of people because they require less maintenance and things like that. There's usually more amenities involved, et cetera, right? But overall, it's a good time for buyers because we're in a buyer's market for both, right? The months of inventory for both are pretty high for both condos and single family homes. So it's a good time to negotiate if you're a buyer. If you're a seller, it's always important, but perhaps, even more important now than in, maybe a couple years ago when it was the Zoom rush, to make sure you have really excellent marketing and excellent professional representation to make sure you get the most for your property, okay? I can't tell you how many times I've seen even luxury real estate listings with cell phone pictures, and you call the agent and they don't answer, or their phone's disconnected. And I mean, the list goes on, guys. So professional representation is the name of the game in the luxury market. And if you're an investor, that's also, again, very case by case basis. So whatever it is you're looking to do, buy, sell, invest, definitely reach out to me and I will curtail to your specific situation, what's going on in your life, what you're looking to do, whether you're looking to downsize, upsize, lateral move, you're moving down here from somewhere, you're moving out of here somewhere else. I will love to help you out, would love to give you my honest perspective, as I always do with all of my clients, as I always do on these videos as well. So hope you guys enjoyed. If you made it to this point in the video, can't think of a single reason in the world not to hit the like button, hit subscribe, ring the notification bell so you don't miss these videos in the future. And I do appreciate you all watching. Thank you so much. Jake Fletcher here with the Fletcher Group at eXp Realty, your Miami real estate agent, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.